This morning, the government Minister for Community Services, Gareth Ward, made an announcement in regards to homelessness in the Hunter in Upper Hunter. And he said, in regards that anyone who wanted a home could have a home if you were homeless. They would rehome you, put you in a home. I've just spent the last couple of weeks meeting with most of the community service groups in the Upper Hunter. It was identified to me through the party that there was an issue there some weeks ago. So rather than just accept that, I was determined to get around and speak to each of the community groups, of which now we've almost completed. Each of those groups tell me exactly the same thing everywhere I go: is that there is no housing, there is no support, there is not enough funding, there is not enough help. I don't know what this government are doing, making comments like they did this morning in regards to homeless. It just isn't true. It was only the week before last that we released a document that showed that less than 1 in 3. So we identify vulnerable children, and only at the moment less than 1 in 3 get seen. That's for no other reason than there's not enough funding and not enough resources spent. If ever there was a case, we've highlighted lots of cases of neglect by this government. If ever there was a case of neglect, it has to be in the area of community services. I wasn't happy. I wasn't just happy with what I was told, as I said, from the party. We've been around talking to each of these groups, and it is identical everywhere we go. From Corindai to Gloucester through to Muswellbrook, Single and Scone, we spoke to groups everywhere, and they tell us the same thing. They just can't cope. Ironically, when this announcement was made this morning, I was only meeting with a community services group this morning, who again told me the same thing, that there just isn't enough. They sit around. Some of the stories we get told in regards to the hopelessness of the situation is extremely sad, and something certainly needs to be done about it, and we plan to do that.
Sue, did you want to speak?
I'm involved with the Single Neighbourhood Centre, and we have two buildings on our site, one of which provides emergency relief and the other provides assistance for people who need clothing and food. Since July last year, our numbers have increased by 150% for homeless people. And last month, our open door, which provides free meals for people, served 200 more meals than the previous month. And 3 more people came in for showers, simply because they had nowhere to live. And overall, our occasions of service have doubled for both services in the last 6 months.
Did you want to speak?
Yep. Here.
Yep.
You ready? So my name's Callum Lawrence, and I work for an alliance of organisations that include social service providers, churches, community groups, and we've been on a 6-month consultation process speaking to people right across the Hunter, and the single biggest issue affecting people is insecure housing and homelessness. There are people sleeping on the Hunter River because they've got nowhere else to go. Families in tents because the hotels, motels, caravan parks are full of drive-in workers, largely, and landlords are charging $400 for a room in Muswellbrook. So it's just out of reach for the ordinary family. It affects people right across the spectrum of demographics. I've spoken to CEOs who have had nowhere to put their families. One is sleeping on a couch. Women over 50 are at particular risk of homelessness because they've been raising families, and so now they find themselves poor and unable to find a house.